All right, so I guess we're live now. And my name is Kate. Who doesn't know me? I'm the head of business development in corporate open innovation at InnMind. And I'm very excited to welcome everyone who is watching us on YouTube and who's watching us on LinkedIn. And of course, everybody who's present today in Zoom. Today we're having our marketing workshop for startups, where we're covering a lot of different topics that will really help startups to get the right understanding on how to improve the growth performance, understand the crypto marketing techniques, and also understand the different parts of marketing, and most importantly, how to set up your strategy with almost either limited budget or if you don't have any budget at all. And for this, to cover this topic, we have two amazing speakers today. We have Liam Hebron, who is head of marketing at InnMind, with years of experience in both startup and corporate marketing strategy, who will share some key insights today on how to improve your startup's performance and essential tools to use, especially, as I said, with zero or limited budget. So Liam, do you want to say hi so everybody sees you?
Yeah, sure. As I said, I'm based here in London in the UK, and thank you very much for the introduction, Kay. Today I'm going to talk through the key core principles of marketing and how to really maximize your potential, really getting back to basics and understanding why it is that marketing is so important and how it can function for your business.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot, Liam. And before we move on with our core part of this workshop, I wanted to introduce Ekaterina Khan, who is also a co-founder and chief operations officer at Skill Labs. She has hands-on amazing experience in community building, key opinion leaders, influencer marketing, and GameFi and Web3 startups. So Ekaterina, do you want to say hi as well in a few words?
Yep, unmuted. Hi, everyone. Super happy to be here with you today. Yeah, I'll be happy to share, my experience and my knowledge that I acquired through different tests of marketing hypothesis and working with not only with our own project, but other projects that we were helping on our way. And I'm more let's say less theoretical, because my background is mostly operational and in management. But I guess marketing in Web3 is very operational and very number-based and data-driven. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to participate in discussion.
Perfect. Katrina, yeah, thank you so much indeed. I think everybody's just thrilled to hear from both of you. So not to delay any longer, I wanted to pass the mic first to Liam so he can start with the part regarding the marketing strategy and the basics, as well as tools to cover from the startup's perspective. And then we will have a cozy Q&A discussion with Ekaterina on the specifics within the crypto marketing. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session with the participants. So meanwhile, please feel free to drop any kind of questions in the chat. And also in YouTube, we're monitoring both. So we will be collecting and asking those questions at the end. Thanks a lot. So Liam, the mic is yours, please.
Perfect. And hopefully everyone can see my screen here of the presentation. You can see across the planets there are 4 Ps, and these are the key terms that we're going to focus on today. So the 4 Ps were developed in around the 1950s by a guy called Neil Borden, who was a professor at Harvard University. Despite them being developed around 70 years ago, they're still very, very applicable today. Some companies try to expand them to 7, adding packaging, people, and process. But what we're going to do is focus on the core 4 key principles here. So that's product, price, place, promotion. And the last little planet, I should have probably made that a P as well. Let's call it primary tools They are going to be cheap or low cost or even free tools that will help your startup to achieve great results across these 4 Ps. So first of all, let's start with product. So this seems to be a really, really obvious thing that you need to communicate to your audience. So what are you selling? But more importantly, why? So you see these 3 key planets here. Let's take a look. Who is it for? So what's your demographic? How do those people that you're selling to communicate? What platforms or search engines do they use? How much money do they have to spend on your product? All of these key questions will inform your strategy going forwards in marketing your product. So for example, if your demographic was, I don't know, 70-year-old people that have never heard of Web3 and they really want to learn about it and get involved, then your second question, how do they communicate and what platforms do they use? You're probably not going to get the best results by marketing on TikTok, because a 70-year-old is unlikely to be on TikTok or Snapchat. So having a key consideration of who your product is for will help you to market more effectively. Secondly, why do they want it? So what challenges does your product solve? Is it useful, entertaining, and can they benefit from it either emotionally or financially? So if you're developing a cryptocurrency, can your person benefit from it financially? I'd hope so. Use that as your core marketing message. If you're developing a Web3 based game, like a GameFi game, can they benefit from it emotionally? Will it make them feel happy? Will it make them relax? Use that in your core marketing messaging. And thirdly, why your product? This is the most important section on product. So what is your USP, so your unique selling proposition? How are you going to position your product differently to anyone else? Why should the consumer pick you? Is your product faster? Is it cheaper? Is it better? Is it more entertaining? The example I've got here is M&M's, like the little chocolate candies. So their USP is the milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. So they're basically saying, I've identified a problem. Everyone's eating chocolate, it's going all over their hands. And says melt in your mouth, so reinforces that it's a good taste. So they're putting their product in a position that's different to all the other chocolate brands. It's distinguishing the product. That's something that's really important to consider for the product that you're developing. Why should someone choose you? So next, let's move on to price. When considering price, I always consider value over cost. So cost, the value of a product is not necessarily the cost it takes to make it. It's how much the customer is willing to pay for your product or service. So the pictures I've got here are of diamonds. So diamonds are commonly thought to be one of the most precious gems, the most expensive. You want your engagement ring to be diamonds, a diamond necklace, diamond earrings. Diamonds are one of the Earth's most abundant minerals. So that the Earth's core is made of trillions and trillions of tons of diamonds, and they all come up to the surface. That they're not that rare, but because of marketing, the customer attributes value to the product. They're willing to pay more because it makes them feel a certain way, because they've been told that they should feel a certain way. The exact same can go for your product or service. It's don't necessarily price it at this is what it costs me to make it, therefore this is what I should charge, 20% extra for a margin or something. Speak to your customers, figure out how much they're willing to pay for your service and price accordingly. For crypto projects, I also wanted to include a section about tokenomics, and I'm pleased to announce that InnMind will be releasing a tokenomics calculator in Q4 later this year. So it will be a tool that once you register to our platform, you can upgrade the premium subscription and have access to a whole suite of tools, including what will be our tokenomics calculator, where you can set a roadmap for your company's pricing structure. In the meantime, you can visit our YouTube channel, and there's loads and loads of stuff about explaining tokenomics, explaining price models, why it's important. So you can see here, I'm not going to play the whole video. There's Nelly, our CEO. So I'm not going to play the whole video because it's about an hour long. But you can go on our YouTube channel and learn more about the pricing structure there. So the third P that I'm going to look at is place. Where can you put your product or service to gain the best advantage? So this is not necessarily about, oh, there's loads of people on Twitter, so let's promote loads on Twitter. There's loads of people on YouTube, let's promote on YouTube. It's bespoke to your product or service. So where can you figure to put your product, your service, to gain the best advantage? Now, in the past, I think it was Sam that said he lived in London as well, so he might recognize this. This is Charles Darwin's old curiosity shop in London. If you had a product, you'd want it in the window of this shop. You see the people walking past, they see it, they think, oh, I might buy this, go into the shop. That is not the case anymore. In the future now, any sort of Web3 project, it might be in someone's pocket basically all the time on a smartphone. It might be on a IDO launch pad, for example, Communitas, who are partners with InnMind, or ScaleSwap, partners with InnMind as well. So if you're developing a crypto project, it's important to consider where can you put it to gain the best advantage, which launchpad can I use that has the right audience. The reason I have Fortnite there is recently in one of our VC pitching sessions, we had a company that created bespoke digital trainers, sneakers as NFTs that you could wear in Fortnite. Again, this is placing your product in a position of advantage because the most people will see it, the right people will see it, your future customers will see it. And finally, let's look at promotion. So promotion isn't necessarily, let's do 25 tweets a day. It's communication with your target audience. So going right back to the first product and understanding your audience, promotion is the exact same. So communicating with your target audience. Where are they going to be? When are they going to be there? How often are they going to be there? So here I've said use a blend of distribution methods, but focus on the ones that your audience use, exactly what I just said. So whether that be email, whether it be social media, whether it be sponsored posts on a different website, there's a whole blend of communication that you can use. And I've said here as well, understand expiry times and always test. So expiry times are bespoke to individual platforms. So Twitter, for example, you could tweet about your product launch. You'd say, we've just released Project X. It's absolutely amazing. You guys are going to love it. That tweet will be gone in an hour, 2 hours. Think of it from your audience's point of view. They're going to check their phone and they're probably not going to see a tweet from 3 days ago. So when you tweet, understand that it's short expiry. Don't rely on full communication on one tweet. Stuff like LinkedIn is slightly longer expiry. It's sort of medium expiry because the algorithm might bring you back to posts. Using blog articles is longer expiry, especially if you write a blog article that's considered evergreen, which means the content never needs to be updated. So, for example, InnMind have a blog of how to join our VC pitching sessions. So to get in front of venture capital firms to secure investment and accelerate the growth of your business. That is an evergreen article because the process will always be the same. We don't have to update that every week. We don't have to update that every day. Something like Twitter, it requires a lot of effort to make sure that information is staying relevant to your users. And the reason I said always test is because some things will work for you, some things won't. I can't come in here and say this one thing is going to work for all of your businesses because it might not. That's why it's important to test. So figure out what works well for your business, keep doing it, and if something isn't working well, stop doing it, because you don't want to waste your time, especially in young periods of growth. You want to accelerate as fast as possible. And your audience here. So why should your audience care about what you have to say? That's a really, really important thing to sometimes stop and consider, because as founders, as heads of marketing, as heads of operations, we're very, very close to our products. We love our products. We love our companies. But our audience, they don't owe us anything. So we need to make sure that we're promoting in a way that makes the audience care. And an important part of this is leading with benefits, not the features of your product. So a good example of this is the original iPod. So before the iPod, people were carrying around CDs, CD players, Walkmans, cassette tapes. It was just quite cumbersome. You could only probably have like 20 songs with you at once. iPod comes out, revolutionizes personal music. Now, technically, the feature they could have led with is storage for 1 gigabyte of MP3s. But that means nothing to the audience. That, like, they don't care. Great, whatever. 1,000 songs in your pocket is the benefit of storage for 1 gigabyte of MP3s, but it's a story. People understand that's the benefit of the iPod. They automatically associate iPod with 1,000 songs in my pocket. They've identified a problem that people had before and led with the benefit, not the feature. I think that's really important to consider for startups as well. If you think you've solved a problem, lead with the benefit of that solution rather than, I have created this, it does this. People won't buy the story of it. They need to understand the story. Humans are storytellers. That's how we have emotional responses. And the second part here is, don't promote expecting growth. Grow with great promotion. So that's to say, don't say, I'm going to send out 25 tweets per day, 10 LinkedIn posts per day, and expect things to skyrocket. What you need to do is test, hone your skills, hone your messaging, and you will bring people on board that understand your story, that will relate your story to other people. They'll become advocates of your product, and your business will grow with that at its very, very core, that storytelling element at its very core. So the final thing that I want to go through now is some tools. So it's all very well knowing how to do all of this, but it sounds like it can be quite expensive. What I've done here is put together a list of free or cheap tools. What I'm going to do is just briefly go through each of these planets. There's a list for each section. If you want to come back to this video, it's being recorded, it's being streamed on our YouTube channel. So you can find the video on our YouTube channel and go back and just note these down. There's quite a few, so I don't want to go through all of them. So social media, InnMind, you use Simplified. It's a really good tool. All of these will help you with either scheduling or understanding trends or influencer marketing. So Buffer, scheduling, Twiriad will tell you when the most popular time or when the most effective time of the day will be to send tweets out for your specific account. Right Relevance will help you find influencers that are relevant to your particular business niche. IFTTT or IFT is social automation. So it will automatically reply to Instagram comments and stuff like that. Your website. So this is how to build sort of blogs or understand SEO, understand blog sharing content and landing pages. These are really useful. Website Grader will also check the usability of your site. It's really useful because if you have poor usability on your website, you're likely to lose a lot of people. We've actually got InnMind have a session coming up on the 31st of August in collaboration with HubSpot about how to turn your website into a lead generation machine. So I'd really recommend signing up for that session if you want to learn more about developing your website. Analytics, again, incredibly important for testing and developing. Key one, obviously, Google Analytics gives you a whole wealth of data to figure out what's working, what's not working. Hotjar, the free version is limited, but you can get some heat maps as well, so you can figure out where people are scrolling on your site, what they're clicking on. Email, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of these before. MailChimp and HubSpot, Sendinblue as well. They'll give you free versions that are limited to a certain amount of emails sent a day or a certain amount of subscribers, but they're really useful to start off with and start testing with. Content and design, you can tell that I like content and design, that's why there's a lot of these. So stuff like Canva, SEMrush. Answer the Public's really useful for developing content, same as Harrows, so that stands for Help a Reporter Out. They're basically PR notices that people just put out, and you as a startup business can respond to these requests and basically get some free PR. Feedly is useful to figure out what's happening in your industry and how you can react to that content. Things like Grammarly are really useful to make sure that your written content is of a really good standard. That's incredibly important, because if you have broken English or broken language on your site, there's an automatic distrust. Grammarly will help you perfect that. And the bottom one there is Prezi, which I'm using today for this presentation. And then the final one is fundraising. So this is how to find VCs, how to find angel investors for your startup to make sure that you're reaching growth. And obviously I had to put this in there, InnMind, the only option. So I am the head of marketing for InnMind. I've seen the really, really great things it can do for startups. And it's free to sign up for an account. We have a premium version which will enable you to have access to VC pitching sessions, to our brand new VC rating, where you can leave reviews about the VCs and your experience, so you can understand what the community has to say, as well as a knowledge base full of really great resources that will help you develop your business. So that's everything from me. Like I said, if you want to look back at any of these free tools, you can just go back to the YouTube video, which would be on InnMind's YouTube channel, and start experimenting, because they are great tools with no budget and hopefully will help you to develop your business. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone's time.
Thank you so much, Liam. Indeed, amazing presentation. And yeah, we're so lucky to have you in the team. So yeah, indeed, great insights. I really wanna leave the Q&A part till the very end, but we have a couple of questions just to wrap your presentation up from YouTube. So I'll just maybe ask one, and then we'll leave the rest for the end of the session. So Jazz Puke from YouTube, she's asking how to choose the channel for community building, Telegram versus Discord versus Reddit. So
yeah, I think there's two factors to that. So the first one comes back to your product and demographic. So understanding who your perfect user is. And what you can do in this situation is create user personas. So create 3 fake people. Imagine your perfect customers that subscribe to you all the time. Say one's a 32-year-old lady that lives in Finland, a 56-year-old guy that lives in the United States, and an 18-year-old that lives in the UK. Create a narrative for them, like a random story, like really go into detail. Like, what does their daily life look like? When are they checking their phone? What apps are they going on? And then using those prompts, you can start to figure out, oh, right, okay, so if this person I'm trying to get to buy something, which costs a bit of money, so they're probably a bit older, they might work a full-time job, so they'll probably only check their phone at lunchtime or on a commute to work. They probably won't have loads of time because they'll be on a lunch break or a commute, so they'll probably go to something like Twitter. Suddenly you start to pin the story together, right? The second element is just test. On social media, on platforms, Telegram, you don't have to pay for it. Twitter, you don't have to pay for it. So just test, see what works. If you start to notice trends in the analytics for these social platforms, that you're seeing growth in a certain area because of a certain type of content, keep doing it. And if you're not seeing any growth, don't waste your time. If it's not working, you don't have to try and make it work. There will be something else that will work better.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Liam. And you touched also very to the point topic regarding fundraising, but I just wanted to drop a note that it's crucially important before fundraising actually to get ready to fundraise. And this is something that the majority of startups really underestimate in a sense. And I'm really excited to announce that for this type of startups, for early stage Web3 crypto and blockchain founders, literally today, we're launching our InnMind Accelerate program, which is a 3-month intensive program dedicated to this type of early stage startups, which will be fully online, limited seats, only 15 startups per cohort, and full of amazing stuff. Actually, I'm if I were a founder myself, I would really go there. So please keep an eye on our social media. We will be announcing the application period very soon. So yeah, excited to announce that. And on this positive note, I wanted to start our conversation with Ekaterina, specifically dedicated to actually crypto marketing. So Ekaterina, so I will start with like the first general question. So we all know that you have a huge hands-on experience working with key opinion leaders and also influencers marketing for crypto startups. So my question is the following. So is it a must-have part for crypto startups? Can you maybe share any kind of advice for newbies from where to start, especially if the budget is limited?
Thank you, Liam, and congratulations on launching your acceleration program. I guess it should be a blast. And yeah, I wish there were some for us when we were just starting, like, from zero, because it's always great to have someone you can ask, you can approach, and get some support and best practices. So to answer your question, I'd say that my experience in crypto, my personal experience and my personal past started back in 2018. But actually, professionally, I moved to crypto in December last year. And before that, I was mostly in operations, in management, sometimes in project management, in working with KOLs in Web2. And to my surprise, when we switched to Web3, there are some general knowledge that are transferable from Web2 to Web3. I mean, like being data-driven to manage KOLs relationship and so on. But the landscape is absolutely different. Twitter is the biggest thing in crypto, but mainly because the crypto is so volatile. And like, as Liam mentioned, that time expirations, it actually correlates quite a lot with, how crypto moves, how trends move, and like what happened like an hour ago, with Bitcoin, everyone was watching. So the industry actually dictates the narratives and the channels that you're using.
I think we lost Ekaterina, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi just died and I
No worries.
reconnected.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, you were talking about what happened with Bitcoin an hour ago that everybody was watching. So hopefully nobody was watching this, but watching our workshop.
Hopefully no one, shorted Bitcoin and everyone is happy right now. So you should check, first of all, when you select the channels for your marketing and promotion, to make sure that you position yourself in the relevant channels, you need to know where, as Liam said, where is your audience. Right now, crypto is mainly in Twitter, mainly on YouTube, as well as Telegram channels, Discord, and so on. But what we can definitely say is that, standard and typical way of advertising, offline channels like TV stuff and so on, are not relevant here, and probably not relevant yet. We don't know, how far the crypto adoption will move the next several years or decades. But when we I've been, consulting and mentoring some startups in terms of KOL relationship building. I built a community and I'm working with KOLs myself. What actually I want to tell, anyone who is working on marketing and community building, right now, everyone is saying bear market is the best time to build. But I would also say that bear market is the best time to promote yourself. Because, when it's bull market, there is everyone, there are thousands of startups, and the startups are fighting for influencers. They're paying more, they're not analyzing, they just want to be there, want to be on this YouTube video, want to be on this Twitter space, on this Twitter spot. But unfortunately, the first, I guess, part of the budget that is cut during the bear market is marketing and PR. I'm not saying that you shouldn't cut it. You should optimize your budget, to your financial situation and what's happening in your own startup. But you need to still have some budget left for marketing. First of all, because the KOLs are becoming more and more flexible during the bear market because there are less demand. and they are ready to give you a discount. They are okay to negotiate some token allocation. They are okay to give you, bulk discount if you're buying. And if you know that this influencer is really good, you can buy several videos in advance, several posts in advance. It's really good timing to build relationship because, it's all about people anyway, crypto or Web2, it's all about people, and they will remember those who were working with them, who were building and treating them fairly during the bear market when they were struggling. Many of them are struggling right now, to be honest. There are not so many advertising, just giving them money for being mentioned on several posts a day or so on. That's the thing that I want to advise you not to cut your budget to zero. It's the time to being mentioned. That's really good thing to think about, to probably reallocate your budget. And the second thing is that I'm super worried here. A lot of people, when they communicate, they start communicating with KOLs. They almost never, but I guess out of 10, only 2% told me that we were asking for, past campaign statistics. We were asking for some past campaign, impressions and engagement from Twitter. We were checking location for YouTube audience, because you need to know what you're paying for. If the influencer is based in Southeast Asia, in your market is in US, probably that's not your first choice. If you want to, to touch everyone in crypto, probably this influencer will be somewhere there for you, but you need to measure it and you need to ask them, because it's market. And you should know what you're paying for, what is the conversion, what is the impression, what is the number of bot followers, and what is the number of real followers. As Liam mentioned, right now there are more and more different tools helping you to select the best influencers, and don't be shy to to test and offer lower price for the first test. We always do so. We're saying guys, we have no idea whether our product and our value proposition will work for your audience. We would like to test. The test price is like this. We cannot afford more for testing. But if we see that the impressions number is higher than, let's say, several thousands, if the engagement is really high, I would consider for Twitter engagement from impression to engagement higher than 15% is a really good one. For different projects, for different segments of crypto is also might differ, but you need to push because you need to get the numbers. You need to operate all the time with numbers, and and you always need to track them. You always need to find the best influencer within the cohort you're working with, and use him or her as a benchmark. And you found one, if he is or she are really good, it's probably there are many more. You need all the time check and test. The thing is expiry time, it relates not only the Twitter post, but also the list of the influencers. We have I guess 15 different backers and investors on our site at Skill Labs, and each of them, they have a list of influencers they were sharing with us when we signed the deal as a part of the values they are bringing to the startups. The thing is after 2-3 months, especially when the bull market just ended and bear market started, I'd say more than half of this list is not relevant. Some of the influencers just left, some just lost their audience because Twitter changes some policies, or YouTube changed something and they're losing their audience as well. So if you have a list of influencers and you sit on it, don't think that in 5 months, when you have more budget before the TG or something else, it will be there and will be relevant. You need all the time to analyze it. So even if you don't have enough money right now to run the campaigns, you need to update your list of influencers all the time. They should be on your speed dial on Twitter, in Telegram. And the last thing here is that I would share out of my expertise here. The thing is, unfortunately, in cryptos, there are a lot of shillers and, bots and paid comments and so on. The thing is, it's better to pay someone in your team or a freelancer to check the relevance of views and comments. For example, on YouTube, I'm asking my team to select 100 different YouTubers in, talking about GameFi. And then after that, I'm asking more senior person, more like, this like person who can make decision fast, to check all the comments for the last 5 or 6 videos. And like out of this list of 100, we rarely have more than 30 people. Because like, for 70% of them, the comments are the same. And after 20, 25, you can actually see the same people posting the same messages there. And like, you don't want to spend your money on these influencers. Also, it would be your, say, bargain point when you talk to them. If you decide anyway, go with this influencer, you can say like, we check the comment section, we check everything. The thing is that like, we don't believe that 100 of the views will be relevant views for us. Let's talk about different price. Let's talk about discounts and so on. Be aware, like, what's happening on the market, control your budget. And I know that also a lot of people are shy to bargain, to ask for discounts, to low price, to special terms and so on. But it is the market. It actually, like, you have an offer, they have an offer. They usually ask for a higher price because a lot of them are ready to give you a discount as a favor, but actually, like, they keep in mind that, okay, this one is really good. I'm asking for 300, but I would do it for 100. It's working right now for YouTube KOL, for Telegram, and for Twitter. For some of them, we actually managed to get discount from, I'd say the lowest one was up to 15-20%. And actually, some of them with whom we are working on quite frequent, base, like once a week, we do ask them for a post. They actually provided us more than 50% discount, but actually works with someone that you like, and you can see that the engagement is quite high. And we kind of, shake hands and decided that we will be working them on a regular basis. So that's like, what I can share. I can go deeper to each specific channel and so on, but would be great to listen if it's relevant, and if you have any questions for me to give you relevant examples or answers.
Yeah, Katrina, I mean, indeed, yeah, thank you so much. It was super insightful, especially I think it's important to listen to all of these points that you've mentioned for startups who are just starting, with their marketing, and completely agree, first of all, that marketing is more about numbers and metrics than anything else. So people who are just thinking that, okay, marketing is about beautiful posts and visuals and nice videos, which is not true. So I guess the professionals really know about it. And the next question that I wanted to ask was actually about the discounts and how to negotiate with KOLs, but you already answered that. So I guess this is a very personalized approach. And startups don't have to be afraid to negotiate and ask for discounts, which is the core of the business of the market, I'd say. Actually, while observing, like your personal experience as well within the space, like everybody knows that Skill Labs grew amazing Twitter community, during this bear market time, even without launching an IDO. So can you please share your personal experience on how did you do it? Like, what is the secret sauce here?
So I'd say that, the first thing first is you have to be you have to plan your content and your posting in advance. Like every week, we are rethinking and replanning our post, social media plan for the next 4 weeks. We have our big events, we have smaller events, we have some regular stuff to be posted once a week and so on. So for Twitter, I guess it's relevant. You should be there. And if you do not post, for a week or two, people just losing your account. And I guess that's Twitter algorithm actually is that putting you in the end of, news feed. So from what I've seen, So NFT collection is a bit different stuff because they are posting like crazy. They do post like 100 posts a day, retweets and so on. And the visuals, we did like, we did measure, and the average was like close to 80 a day, posts a day, which is super, super crazy. I guess social media marketing is very busy. But if we talk about, projects which are building like something infrastructural project, we're building a dashboard and a marketplace and so on. I would say that posting 1 to 3 posts a day, it's actually quite good frequency. You are there for your audience. They do not, forget you, and you still keep them updated. So if we talk about special techniques, like, I would separate it to 2 parts. The first one is the regular one. If you're in crypto, in GameFi especially, it's quite hard to, to go against everyone else and not use all the mechanics that everyone else is using. So first of all, that's the drops and the Gleam campaigns with NFT drops and so on. Everyone is using it. And if you're not doing it, like the first question of the audience, what's wrong with you? Because there are a lot of NFTs for free, just dropping out of nowhere. Thanks to our great partners, we have more than 35 different game partners. We're working on providing benefits and perks for our community. So we did this, and it gave us quite a big, boost to grow our community as well. But the second part is more, it's not unique, but like more specific. First of all, we do post guides how to start playing different games. So we are working on producing our own content. It's a content that we're creating ourselves internally, and we're posting it every week. So we know that the new game is coming, and not everyone is ready to start playing and investing money without not knowing the mechanics and so on. And we are also sharing super high level description, how to start, what is the token price and so on. And on top of that, we're adding some analytics, how much you would earn if you would enter the game yesterday, the inflation would stay the same and so on. So you have the basic understanding what would happen to you if you start playing this game. That actually what helped us to boost our Medium blog. We have 13, I guess, K followers on Medium, because we were producing some content, not just an updates about partnering with someone, not just updates about the team, but something useful that people can use. That's actually, a great way to get to the people's heart. And
exactly with those articles. Especially how-to articles. If you think of any problem that you have now, if something breaks in your house and you want to know how to fix it, the likelihood is that you'll get your phone out, you'll go on Google and say how to fix my broken table. How-to articles are so important for developing content because they'll help you to rank higher on search engines and improve the visibility of your site, improve the traffic to your site. They hit some serious keywords in terms of how, exactly as you said, how to start playing this game, how to play this game, because those are the kind of terms that people would search. And again, it goes back to why the customer should care, because you're helping them. I care because they're helping me. In terms of a promotion with another partnership, that doesn't necessarily affect the customer's experience. There's a really interesting thing going on at the moment with Instagram. Obviously, they released a load of new features and they had to roll everything back because everyone hated it so much. But they said, we noticed that the key areas of growth are in Reels and DMs. So basically code for we're going to copy TikTok because they're growing loads. And so someone called out Instagram and said, what if I don't care that Instagram is growing? What if it means nothing to me if Instagram are making money? I don't care. All I want is a good customer experience, and then I will use the app. That's it. So again, when I was saying earlier, don't promote growth, grow with great promotion. you need to focus on creating content that's going to actually help your consumers have a better experience. And those how-to articles would be a great start.
It's actually, funny things. The last one, I'd say, like, unique content to help your users, to help everyone there. Like, even if these users are not joining our Discord or Twitter, they will probably get back when they know that some new game is released, because we were providing a lot of content, how to start this game and this game. And then, like, ideally, next search will be like skill labs, how to start. That's what we are aiming, to how to get there. And the last thing is, which was a surprise for me, we were creating a lot of content and so on. And out of sudden, my team said, like, there are a lot of people asking how to add some specific token to MetaMask. And I said, like, guys, everyone knows it. There are a lot of different articles. They're like, we're not doing this. And they were like, there is still a lot of questions in our Telegram chat. Let's just create this article for this specific games that we're going to cover. And I said, like, okay. And actually, that's the articles that actually got the most number of clap on Medium. And everyone was like, sharing it and checking it and doing some screenshots. And I was super amazed. The thing is, like, crypto in the very, very beginning of adoption. Like, even if the articles how to install MetaMask and how, like, to get your crypto wallet, they're still getting loads and loads of views and so on. And if you have it, and if you can, deliver this message clearly and simply to the audience that you're targeting it, just do it. Use, like, some simple ideas, some simple questions that you are helping to find answer. It could be like, on a different language rather than English. Probably could also work if your audience is not, in North America, not English speaking, because I guess English is dominating here. Probably translating into some other language would also help you, ranking in Google ranking system or something else. So, like, the key for the second part, like, you do what you have to do because the industry is saying you to do. You have to, follow the trends and the guidelines. And the second part, like, talk and think with your customers about the value, what they are ready to pay with their time. I'm not talking here about money, because community, it's about spending time with people like-minded, like, with people who have the same issues, same problems, same interests. And, like, we found our way, like, while talking about the games, sharing simple tips and so on. And that's actually, like, how our product is evolving, because we are building real-time dashboard, because articles can be outdated because of the crypto and the speed. And we're now building the real-time dashboard. So these people would have an access anytime, ad hoc, anytime they want, to get the most relevant information. That's actually what worked for us. It's not a universal advice, but I think that actually the key thing is, like, value for your customer. You should know what is value perceived of your customers, and you should provide it, and their people will follow.
And if you don't know what the value is for your customer, don't be afraid to ask as well. Having open communication with your community is a really useful way to help you grow. So if there's a few people that are really interested in your product, or you notice that they use it all the time, just send them an email. Would you be interested in taking part in a focus group? We want to understand the needs that you have so we can serve you better. And if you build a business based around 3 or 4 people's needs, those needs are most likely going to replicate across a whole community. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming to think, oh, I have to solve 1 million people's problems. It's likely that if you solve 10 people's problems, that will extrapolate into so many more things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from my side, I completely agree. And basically, I know that we have limited time, but I would really love to ask just one more question from my side personally. Actually moving from the good practice, like the perfect practice that you just shared, to bad practice. So maybe, like you said, that you were advising a lot of like crypto startups, right? So you were inside this startup kitchen. And I really want to ask, like, what kind of mistakes or maybe typical failures that you observed in crypto startups community building or marketing in general when they start first?
Good question, actually. One of the biggest mistake I've seen, one startup actually were asking for KOL advice from, different kind of other projects, but the industry was absolutely, the focus was absolutely different. And they started just working with those who got great feedback and reference, which is super weird for me. And the second part was like, there are super hyped influencers, like, they have partnership with Binance or something else, some other endorsement. Usually their price is like 10x or 20x higher. But the thing is, it's very costly to test these influencers. They never agree to, I don't know, $100 test. And I would advise you cooperate with this kind of influencers when you have like, several hundred thousand budget. Because if you put all your eggs into one basket and this basket is one influencer, it could be, wrong timing. It could be wrong narrative. It could be something else happening in crypto that would just, draw attention to something else. I would advise you always to think about, how to cover the, like, more people with the same amount of money. And like when we talk about more people from different location, if your product is universal, from different I'd say social stress, like it could be scholars, it could be NFT investors, it could be VC investors, and so on. You should think about broader picture. I would advise only this, but it all goes to data check, and you should think about KOLs, working with KOLs is like what I am paying for. I'm paying this $100 for how many views, how many engagements, for of what people, people from my target, location, from I know UK, from Philippines, or what is it I'm buying. I guess this approach and this question, if you repeat it several times, will help you to actually answer this, what should I ask for from this specific influencer, and to negotiate accordingly.
I think for me, the mistakes that I see in startups is when they lose sight of the customer. So when they start chasing numbers of followers, when they start chasing numbers of impressions, and forget that the most important thing to do to build a solid foundation of a startup business is understand your customer, produce something that's a product or a service that is beneficial to that person, be loyal to those people, convert them from customers to advocates that will then go out and promote your product and you don't even have to pay them. The people that just chase followers, it's very dangerous because numbers are infinite. There's always going to be more followers. There will always be more people, but you can't lose sight of what the business was based on. That's where your core value is. That's where your USP will be. That's how you'll make your business successful, is by understanding, testing, measuring, applying, and developing, rather than just being like, oh, I'm going to pay for 100,000 followers and suddenly everyone will love me. That's not how it's going to work. So yeah, just understanding that sometimes it requires patience. Sometimes you never know, you might get lucky. Suddenly it will blow up overnight and you'll suddenly have this bustling community. No one way is better. It's just important to stay true to your business, stay true to what you founded or what you're working on, and just test out some of these free tools. You can always come to InnMind and ask for advice. I put my email in the meeting invite. If you want to email me with anything directly, feel free to do so. I'm always happy to mentor and to help people.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Actually, both Katrina and Liam. So I can ask like tens of more questions from my side, which is like super exciting to talk to both of you always. So let me just ask the last question, and then we can finish the session from our participants who are watching us on YouTube. So we have the question on what tools do you use to track results of partnership or KOL marketing? I guess this is more to Kate, to Katrina, yeah.
Unfortunately, the Twitter is not allowing you to get, data with no manual efforts. So that's the part of the deal when we agree on cooperation with influencers, that we get the stats, the screenshot of the post, 24 hours after the posting, and then 7 days after the posting. If you go to Twitter stats, you can see, detailed analytics for each of the posts with impressions, engagements, clicks, and profile views, and so on. We're also working with a project which is on on beta stage now, which is called Mainline. They're now working on gathering this data for you, so you don't have to ask 100 influencers to send it to you via Telegram or via Twitter. But right now, it's unfortunately manual. And Excel, old good Excel, where we put all the data and check the metrics and calculate everything. That's usually enough for us to see, what is the results of the campaign.
Okay, so I guess you just gave an amazing idea for startups, who have no clue what to do next.
There are some tools on the free list as well. Stuff like BuzzSumo will help you to track that kind of performance.
Okay, yeah, amazing. So guys, yeah, general advice, just checking the presentation, and also you're always welcome to register your profile on InnMind, and also checking our knowledge base, turning to our amazing experts and InnMind team who will connect you with the right person to help you within a specific area of knowledge. And just to summarize and to wrap this amazing session, which was a lovely and amazing discussion, at least that I had, the first question that came to our YouTube chat was actually the following. So what is the most powerful channel for marketing in 2022? So I guess this is going to be a great wrap up of today's session. So if you can give a couple of words on this, that would be amazing.
So for a particular channel, so if you want to group them as social media, as email, I'm a massive fan of video content, especially YouTube. I think Google buying YouTube was a massive game changer for marketing, because Google indexes YouTube video content higher than results. Sometimes with their swap to mobile first, sometimes you'll get, I don't know if you've ever searched something that says, if it is like the how to fix a table, it will show a specific snippet of a YouTube video. They understand that video content keeps them on their site for longer, so they promote it more. I loved YouTube for that reason. Another sort of proof of video content working is the emergence of TikTok. Some people are saying actually TikTok might even replace people's search engine habits of using Google. So if you want to figure out what's the best thing to do in Paris if you're going this weekend, people understand that if you Google that, you're going to get like 5 ads from tour campaigns. Whereas on TikTok, it's like community sourced information. There's no real sort of advertising element in there. So that's a really powerful example of community sourced information. I think if you have the resources, I think an in-house community forum, like an FAQs or a community support helpline that's indexed on your website is a really, really powerful tool for growth, because exactly as we said earlier, when people search, how do I do this? Or how do I fix this? They'll come to your site and it will help you rank better if you have the resource to do that. But yeah, my powerful tools are video content, so YouTube and TikTok. And I love email as well. I think email's not going anywhere. It's still really powerful. It's a direct form of communication. Just make sure that your subject lines are snappy, because you can create the best email ever, but if your subject line isn't making people open it, they'll never see it. So test with those subject lines. It's crazy how like 6 or 7 words can change the entire email, because your audience might not even see it. There's quite a few useful AI tools that will help you with that as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Liam. Like, indeed, like super insightful, and with the video content, completely agree. I guess the audience in general becomes more visual oriented, which is already happening. So people barely, read anything, or just skipping a lot of lines, and they would rather see stuff and then take action if this is like catchy for them. And actually, I want to twist the question a little bit for Ekaterina. So instead of general marketing channels for 2022, I would want to ask about the most powerful crypto marketing channels for 2022.
I don't think that, as Liam said, video is the new thing here. And sadly, you're also like, right, because people read less and they're more on YouTube and TikTok, watching Reels and so on. And everyone should adapt, you should be there where your customer is. Like it's very hard to change their habits and, the way of searching the information and just send them newspapers on or 5 pages long articles. I'd say that it's YouTube, but I would actually add that it's the most effective channel is where your audience is. If your audience is not on YouTube, don't spend money and time. Probably they will go there, or they were there before. But you need to first talk to your people, to your customer, and ask them where do you get the information? What is the most helpful channel for you? What do you open first as a source of information? Is it Twitter, is it YouTube, or is it something else? There are a lot of people who are actually subscribers of different sources, the best deals in crypto. When I was working in ride hailing, there was a really great email updates via usual, emails, all good emails about mobility. And I was eager to read it twice a week. So it was really great tool of communication. So these guys, they actually found the channel. So talk to your people and don't run, to the channels that everyone is using. Probably your audience is not there.
Okay. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, completely agree. So I guess we've covered quite a lot of information today. So I guess the audience has to digest, and come back to us, with even more insights and questions to share. So I really want to thank Ekaterina and Liam for joining us today and being our amazing speakers, sharing your knowledge, your experience. So much appreciated from our side. And I just wanted to thank also the audience who was watching us on YouTube and LinkedIn, and also our participants here in Zoom. Recommendation for startups: go to InnMind, register, create your startup profile, and there you will find all the information, all the events that are upcoming, knowledge base, perks club, a lot of other interesting tools. And also, as Liam said, InnMind is your #1 friend in fundraising, and especially if you're early stage, then you would love to join our accelerator, and take the maximum out of it. So stay tuned. And yeah, that's all from my side. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye. Take care.